Hello, and welcome back to the Rye Wizard podcast. I'm going to try to do a few more of these each month um, as they are relevant. I'm not going to guarantee that I'll be coming out with more of these every month, but I'm going to try to do a few extra every month. So, in today's video or podcast, I'm going to be reviewing Halloween Ends. Then I'll be joined by Anime D Senpai, and he will give his review of the next two episodes of Chucky, the TV series. And finally, we will discuss a few things that he wanted to talk about in this podcast. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. All right, so Halloween is over, and Halloween night, after my daughter went to bed, I decided, you know what? I'm going to watch the third and final movie, Halloween Ends. I think I've talked a little bit about the previous two in this trilogy, and I definitely mentioned that I was a big fan of the Halloween movies in the past. But let's just recap. Even though anybody watching this, I'm sure, knows exactly what happened. This trilogy picks up right after the events of the first Halloween movie, which I'm not really a big fan of because, well, I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm just note going into this, I'm not really a big fan of this trilogy. And Halloween Ends did not do anything to make it better because when they were promoting this movie, I guess you could say, when they were saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make a trilogy. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna pick up right after the first one," I was like, "Okay, maybe I'll give it a chance." I don't like the fact that you're deleting everything up to like the first movie because it was actually a pretty good story. I mean, you had this kid who was suddenly a killer, waited around for like years, then starts stalking these babysitters. Turns out that one of those babysitters that actually survived turns out to be his sister who was put up for adoption. And you could kind of take it as from that point, she had a kid shortly after, gave the kid up for adoption because she didn't feel she was in any condition to raise a child, and try to live a life outside, of Michael. She faked her death, and then sometime later she had another kid, only this time she decided to keep it. Things didn't work out with her boyfriend or husband at the time, and she just raised the kid on her own, moving as far away from Haddonfield, and we'll get back to that. And then you got her daughter who grows up and is, very young, and Michael comes for her, and then they stop him. She continues to grow, has a baby of her own, and Michael comes again, this time for the baby and for her, kills Jamie, wants to kill the baby because, they finally explain the whole Thorn thing, which goes back and makes the first movie and the second movie make sense that he can't be stopped until he gets every member of the family. But they stop him. I mean, you could contain him, but you can never truly stop him. So they contain him again for some time. At this point, he finally, once again, breaks out, goes hunting for the last remaining survivor of his family, Laurie Strode and her son. Then tracks him down, gets stopped yet again, and finally you get Resurrection where he comes back, and that one wasn't perfect because he should have gone for, he went for Jamie at the beginning, but didn't go for Josh. And I'm like, okay, well, that kind of doesn't make sense. He should have gone for Josh Hartnett. And that should have been, the end there. Or something. But no, we didn't. We got this whole different kind of a movie. And that was wasn't in any way perfect, but I kind of enjoyed it. It was kind of nice. It was one big storyline. You can easily tie all those movies together by saying Lori gave up her child and faked her death because she didn't feel she could handle the fact that Michael was still alive and in custody. So, this one forgets all that. And Halloween 2018 kind of just made Michael out to be just a crazy person, a psycho. No rhyme or reason why he's killing. He's just, this time he was literally going house to house killing people. He wasn't going after anybody in particular, although the first movie made it seem like he was going after her in particular, constantly watching her, killing off her friends so she had nowhere to run. Like, she seemed like a target, not just someone who randomly came across his path. And Halloween Kills, I don't know. That's kind of in the middle for me because it still seemed like, oh, they're just having him kill whoever he comes across. And it's just that wasn't working for me. But now they were slowly trying to put back in some sort of like supernatural thing. And there's even like this one scene I swear is a complete ripoff from Lord of the Rings. That scene like with the Nazguls and the hobbits. But yeah, so we move into Halloween Ends. And I've heard a lot of people basically say they don't like this movie. It makes no sense. There are plot points that don't make sense. Actually, this makes sense to me. Of all the movies, if you bring back a supernatural element, this makes the most sense. So we start the movie with this kid, Corey Cunningham, and there is an accident which results in the death of a kid. And the town, they won't let it go. Over the course of the next few years, Michael has disappeared. Everything culminates. This kid starts dating Jamie Lee Curtis's granddaughter, and there's just this whole thing about what she's going through and how the town won't let her forget it, and then what he went through and how the town won't let forget it. The town, the town's full of assholes, basically. Everybody blames everyone for their problems instead of handling it themselves or looking in the mirror. So, these kids, I think most of the kids were in band. I think the main one wasn't. I think that's why he was popular, because he's the rich kid. Honestly, I think that is the whole reason he is the popular one, because he is that rich kid. He's that rich, snobby asshole that says, hey, I got money, so you gotta do what I say. And I think that's why those kids hang around with him. But anyways, throughout the movie, they keep popping up, insulting this kid, Corey, and the main douchebag throws Corey over the edge of a bridge, and luckily Corey doesn't die. I actually made the joke, and there's been quite a few other YouTubers that I saw made the joke too, that said as soon as I saw that manhole or whatever, that sewer entrance, I'm like, wait, did I put the wrong movie in? Is this a new It movie? Unless Michael Myers, when he was a kid, got infected by Pennywise. Maybe there's a part of Pennywise in him. But anyways, so Corey's unconscious, not dead, and Michael drags him into the sewers. And then Corey wakes up. Michael grabs him by the throat. And I think this is where a lot of people were getting all confused. And I'd love a chance to actually sit down with the writers and see if I'm nailing this right on the head. But I think there are a few others that would agree with this. Michael was weakened. He had to fight back to get out of being killed himself. He knew he was about to die. So he used all his might, all his energy. And he was kind of like a drained battery. He was evil, but he was a drained battery. That last kill, the kill of Jamie Lee's daughter, Judy Greer, I think it is, that took the last of his strength. That gave him only enough strength to escape. The home was only a block away. He was dying, or he was running out of energy. Because if you remember, I think it was back in the very first movie, he doesn't move, he doesn't talk. He was waiting. That's what Loomis said, he was just waiting. I think he knew that he only had so much energy. If you go with this movie as the premise of explaining the first movie, then it's saying that he only had enough energy to make one escape at that time before his energy would be depleted. That's why when he was a little kid, he only killed the sister, because that's all he had, the energy in that small body. Now he had a bigger body and he needs more energy. So what I think happened here is he sensed that and looked into the eyes of this kid and saw that energy and I think Jamie Lee kind of makes a point of this at the end of Halloween Kills. I think he took that energy of killing that kid. I think it's like, how do I describe it? I want to say it's like Harry Potter, but that's splitting your soul, and that's not exactly what he's doing. I think he turned Corey into a herald, someone to go forth, commit murder, to infecting him with that same darkness, creating a link between them, so everybody that Corey killed would make Michael stronger. Because he didn't have the energy himself to go out there and do it. So now Corey was acting as a herald on his behalf. Think of like the Silver Surfer and Galactus. You know, Silver Surfer was the herald of Galactus. At least in the Fantastic Four 2 movie. I don't know that much about the comics, if it was the same in the comics. But that's my thoughts, is that he turns Corey into a herald. However, here's the problem with that. And not a problem that, like, oh, that this ruins that idea. More like the problem Michael didn't think of, because Michael doesn't think, like, smartly. He just thinks, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. Which is why the Halloween 2018 didn't make a lot of sense. Unless you want to say that he was just collecting up power. But anyways, Corey gets a taste for that power. That same power that Michael has. And he foolishly thinks that power comes from the mask. So that's why he turns on Michael towards the end, because now he just wants the power for himself. But he's still going around killing, which is still making Michael stronger, because he's still the herald of Michael Myers. And when Jamie stops him near the end, all the power that was remaining goes to Michael. And now Michael's almost at full power. And you could honestly sit there and say Jamie Lee Curtis was the opposite. She was the oppositional force. And I think that's why she is like a Sarah Connor character, because she's been waiting and training and doing all this stuff so she could end this evil. So basically, they do bring back a supernatural element. Was it great? Maybe if they had explained it a little more. I mean, they had the way to actually explain, like, just a 5-minute scene is all we needed of her theorizing exactly what I just said. You know, looking back after finding out more, it's clear that Michael had turned Corey Cunningham into a herald to go forth and give him power so he could come back. And that's all they would have had to put. I mean, not even a 5-minute scene of her typing that into her book and narrating it as she's typing it. You know, but nope, they didn't do that. They left it up for the audience to decide or figure out. And I think I pretty much figured it out that way. So that is going to pretty much wrap up my review. I'm not a big fan of this trilogy. I might watch it depending on what mood I'm in. But if I really want to watch Halloween, I probably would enjoy watching the longer one, like I said, all the way from the original to Halloween Resurrection, just because skipping Halloween 3, obviously, because that's not part of that same story. But I can make that whole story of movies work for me. That is honestly how I thought everybody accepted and took it, because we didn't have the internet back then, at least not on the level we have it now. I mean, we got it probably by H2O time, and when Resurrections came out, it was still pretty new. But I mean, yeah, I thought Halloween all the way up to Halloween Resurrection, minusing Halloween 3, was one big storyline, and that's how everybody took it. I didn't know, like, oh, you skip so many movies. Like, you get 1, 2, Halloween H2O, and Resurrections is like, oh, I never heard of that. I just know they kept making the movies. Just like I didn't know for a long time that the newer Friday the 13th was a remake. I always thought it was just the next part. You know, obviously, Jason Goes to Space, Jason X, was going to be the very last movie in the line. Like, it's always going to get bumped down to the last. I thought it was after the Manhattan one or something. So, if this helps, I would say watch it. You know, watch it with this theory of mine, with this idea of what I think Halloween Ends is all about, and see if it makes sense to you, you know? Think of Michael Myers as like this battery of evil, and every person he kills gives him power. Maybe he wasn't chasing down Lori for any particular reason. Maybe he just spotted her for some weird reason and watched her. I don't know. But I mean, it's the best I could come up with, the best I could think of on my own as I was watching the movie. And then the last one, Halloween Ends, is not completely unenjoyable. I did enjoy several parts of it. So, let's go ahead and move on into our next section now. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the review of the next 2 episodes of the TV show Chucky, episodes 5 and 6. And I am joined by Anime D Senpai.
Hi. Sorry, I was here in the rain, so.
Yeah. So you're liking the show so far. You're about halfway through the first season. Do you remember everything that's happened?
More or less. The last part was Chucky egging off the kids, flipping them off. And he was just like saying, he was big. He didn't say it in words, but he was just saying, "Hey, I killed this asshole. You guys can't do anything right now."
Yeah. He also unplugged the sister's life support machine.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did do that.
So they're at the hospital, and they just brought Devin into the fold about Chucky. Although he hasn't actually seen Chucky yet, I think, at this point, if I remember correctly, yeah.
He saw him like at that end scene, when he
flipped him off. Yeah, so he knows. And
but before that, he was telling Lexi, is her name, right? That whole thing is just like a fable and all that stuff, and she was saying, it's real and all that. And well, now he finally sees him for the first time.
Yep. And let's not forget that Bree has some kind of secret. Have you noticed that there's some dialogue that seems to be repetitive from the movies?
No, and I've only seen each movie once, so I don't really remember everything that was said. So if there's a lot of throwback lines that were from the movies, I haven't really picked up on them.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people who are more hardcore with Chucky, who are really huge fans of Chucky, they would instantly notice. But a lot of the stuff goes over my head, I guess.
Mm. So, what are you hoping for, at least with these next 2 episodes?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm just hoping, like that one cop lady who is I think Devin's mom.
Yeah.
Kind of starts to get off Jake's back now because she was basically interrogating him. And then there was that one guy who died, and he was with her the whole time, so he was not involved.
The mother's partner?
Yeah.
Yep. So, alright, well, we are going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into this, and then when we're done, we'll come back and we'll get your reaction of these 2 episodes and your review. And what you think will happen in the next few episodes, or the last 2 episodes of this season, because I think there was only 8, so.
Sounds about right. I think just about everything these days have about roughly 8 episodes.
I know, I hate that so much.
But,
I miss the days of 20 episode seasons.
Well, as far as, like, Chucky goes, I mean, would you really want, like, a season of Chucky where there was 20 episodes? I mean, I think that would just get repetitive and boring. No, I mean, no offense to any diehard fans, but, I mean, I think there's really not much that can happen for 20 episodes.
I feel like they could expand the story with 20 episodes, and they could have added more that we want to see. We'll talk about it after these 2 episodes, I think, more in detail.
Yeah.
Because I think this is going to be where some things really start happening.
Well, we're in the latter half of the season, so.
Alright, so we'll see you guys after. Bye.
Looking for something to pass the time? Need something good to read or listen to?
To get you ready for Halloween.
Do you like famous slashers like Jason, Freddy, Michael, or Ghostface? Do you wish there was something new and original that you could read on your phone or tablet? Or perhaps you like to grab a scary book and read by candlelight?
Check out these short stories, written by Sean Connaughton. When a mildly abusive man mistreats his bride-to-be on Halloween night, his neighbors decide to teach him a lesson. A lesson he won't soon forget when he finds himself in the witch's hole. And narrated by me, Tara Klein.
A Seattle detective, Scott Grimes, investigates a string of odd murders. But where this case ultimately leads him, he could never have predicted when he crosses paths with the legal murderer. And narrated by me, Brad Letson.
Join the Dunn family as they make their way to a vacation home for a weekend trip. However, when the sun goes down, things seem to get just as dark inside as outside. Stay with the Dunns and see if you can make it through The Mansion. Audiobook narrated by Dylan Poor.
This story follows Sir Godwin as he and a small group transport a lovely princess out of a soon-to-be war zone, and as they travel they must pass through some woods. However, things grow darker and more sinister the deeper into the woods they go, and they find what some believe to only be known as the Legend of Fort Blood. Narrated for you by Angela Strauman.
So, turn out the lights, light a candle, grab your phone or tablet, and download your ebook or audiobook now.
Currently available all year round on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes.
So don't miss out and grab your copy today.
Alright, so we just finished episodes 5 and 6 of the Chucky TV series. Overall, generally, what'd you think of episode 5?
Okay, there was like so much stuff going on. I'm trying to remember what was all on, where season 5 ended and where season 6 began.
Well, episode?
Yeah, episode. Yeah, my bad.
Basically, they finished up at the hospital, came home. Lexi's sister did not want Chucky half burned anymore.
Okay.
After acting like a very spoiled brat.
Yeah, she does that a lot. She's kind of annoying.
And she has to have some kind of mental disorder, like something mentally wrong with her, because I have a daughter and she doesn't act anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's autism or what, but...
No, pretty sure that's not autism, but...
Then we also got to see Chucky in the 80s. Back when he met Tiffany.
Yeah, that was actually kind of interesting. I didn't recognize her right away. Now you mention that.
Actually, it's because they had different actors playing Tiffany, and they just dubbed Jennifer Tilly's voice over her.
Ah, that's what that was.
But did you recognize Chucky?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, they had Fiona Dorff lip-syncing her mouth to Brad Dourif's voice. So she was playing her father physically while he was voicing himself.
Yeah, I was like thinking, oh shit, I was really glad to see Nika. I was hoping to see her again, and it was kind of interesting with the whole thing with Nika's character. She's actually almost like going off and on with control of her body, although it definitely doesn't seem willing on either one's part. It didn't really seem like either one's fighting each other for control, per se, I guess. Although Nika's definitely in control now, which is kind of good, but last I saw, she was in the trunk of a car.
Yeah. Did you also notice that you got probably the most meta episode here out of the entire series?
Meta.
Okay, so Chucky is inside Nika's body.
Oh.
And Nika is the real life daughter of Brad Dourif, who voices Chucky. So she had to pretend to be Chucky.
Wouldn't be the first time. I mean, the first time was back in Cult of Chucky, I think.
No?
Wasn't Cult of Chucky was the one where her body got possessed?
Okay, her body is possessed. But what I'm saying is, her body is possessed by Chucky.
Yeah, I know.
And it's Nika who's in control, pretending to be Chucky.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying now. Okay, yeah, that was kind of interesting.
And did you expect that Tiffany was going to figure it out?
I mean, I guess I would have been surprised if she didn't. I mean, she spent a lot of time, but I guess, I wasn't 100% expecting it, but I wasn't surprised that she figured it out.
Yeah. Interesting fact, by the way, about that scene when they're playing poker is that Actually, the real actress, Jennifer Tilly, is a professional poker player. She plays in world tournaments and stuff.
Well,
And she's actually won.
I bet that was intimidating for Fiona.
Maybe. I mean, it was probably scripted. I don't think they were playing for real.
Well, I mean, they usually aren't, but I mean, sometimes if they want to bring some realism, they will try put it for real. I mean, it's just a game after all.
Yeah, but it's a game with money on the line. In real life.
Yeah, I mean, you got yeah, that's a point.
So, anyways, we had a couple deaths. There was one you really, or no, that was the next episode. Let's see who died. Oh yeah, the principal died.
Oh yeah, I
We didn't really get to see much of her,
I was not affected. I was thinking, oh, the principal's dead. Okay.
but the teacher got blamed for it.
Yeah, that was kind of shitty. I mean, I like the teacher. She's kind of hot.
Yeah.
Just saying. And I hope the teacher makes it through this whole thing.
And that's why they're trying to get rid of redheads, people, because girls with red hair are probably the best. Anyways, so moving into episode 6, how did that start? What did we get at the beginning of that episode?
I don't know. I can't remember. There's like so much stuff that happened.
Got some returning characters.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's how that started. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna, before I forget again. I actually, embarrassingly enough, I did not recognize Andy right away. I should have, and I was trying to wonder who the girl was. As soon as I realized that was Andy, I was thinking, okay, so who's this girl? And then I learned it was Kyle, and I was thinking, oh, well, it's been a while since I've seen.
Funny thing is you actually said back when we did, like, your ranking that Child's Play 2 is your favorite because of Kyle.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, yeah, I'm still definitely remembering. Yeah, she was, and I stand by that. Yeah, she was a very good, solid part of that movie. But I mean, that was months ago at this point when I saw that movie. It's actually probably like over a year now, I think.
Maybe. But then but in that same scene, we actually have another returning character, a third returning character.
Let's see here. Who am I forgetting?
Chucky.
Oh.
That Chucky is the one with the clawed hand. The one that was burned in Cult of Chucky. When the doctor melted the fingers to prove to Nika that it wasn't possessed by Charles Lee Ray.
Oh. Oh, damn. Okay. I guess I overlooked that little detail.
Yeah, I noticed the hand when the girl walked in with him. I was like, why? That makes no sense. Why would Chucky send that version of a doll to anybody? If anything, keep that one, close by where it can... It made no sense that they would send that doll out into the world. But anyways, then we got 2 deaths in this episode 6, that...
Yeah, the first one, it was kind of upsetting. Once I actually got to know the character a little bit and saw the situation, but it was Junior's mom, Bree.
Yep. And what was her secret this whole time?
She had cancer, and she was gonna die of cancer.
So I guess in retrospect, you could say that Chucky kind of did her a favor and just sped up her timeline.
Yeah. But it's just it's just gonna look like a freaking suicide, and that sucks because it does look like a suicide.
Only to the people that aren't her. I mean, like I said before, it doesn't really matter to her anymore.
Well, it doesn't. Well, things don't matter when you're dead.
And it's got to be killing Chucky that no one's gonna officially in that world. No one knows that he did it. So even if he said it, it's like, oh well, no, the rest of the world doesn't know that. And since no one's gonna believe you're alive anyway,
yeah,
they're all just gonna think she died of suicide. So Chucky doesn't get a point for that one. At least not in the world's eyes.
Yeah, I think only like Jake, Lexi, and Devin believe that was murder. At least definitely Jake for sure.
Yeah. And who was the second big death we got?
It was Devin's mom.
Yep.
That one I wasn't really too upset about, but I just want to point out she died falling down the stairs, and I want to point out that there was another character from a series that we both know very well, or somewhat well. I mean, I know it very well. You were learning it, but there was another character that died falling down the stairs. And I was saying, yeah, the character died falling down the stairs, and well, you didn't believe me. And I was thinking, I just saw Devin's mom die in that exact same type of situation.
I think it matters on the stairs, and like that one was actually a curved stairwell.
Well, I mean, we never saw like that whole thing with Kuina from One Piece. That's the one I was pointing out.
I forget that she even died falling down the stairs because it's not brought up all the time. You know how many freaking episodes of One Piece there are? Of course you do.
Over 1,000.
Of course you do. Which we'll get into a little bit. But anyways, so yeah. What are your thoughts on Lexi now?
I mean, if I would go like to my past self from like a couple weeks ago that watched the first 2 episodes, I would say, "Oh, don't worry, she'll grow on you." I'm sure my past self would say, "Are you kidding me? She's a bitch." And well, I have to say, she's growing on me, and start actually like her character quite a bit.
I know you hate her mom, though.
Yeah, her mom could die. That's one thing I wish, if I could swap out the deaths, I would like to swap Bree with Lexi's mom.
The mayor, who uses the townspeople's money to fix their home.
Yeah, and thinks that it doesn't matter being a mayor instead of a parent.
Well, she thought that it's the same thing.
It's definitely not the same thing.
I mean, in her eyes, being the mayor is like being mother to the entire town.
I mean, that kind of sounds like another series that I know, Naruto. But they weren't as arrogant and like saying, "Oh, like."
The problem basically is that she's not a good mother to begin with.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, she's not a good mom, and she's probably not a very good mayor.
I'm trying to think what else is there. So, did you like these 2 episodes?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of returning characters. I was kind of surprised to see everyone back. That I was glad to see Nika again, and actually it was Nika and not Chucky possessing Nika.
Yeah. I can't say anything else on that topic because I know what's going to happen, and I don't want to possibly spoil the last 2 episodes of season 1. Let's just say this season takes some turns, and for those who have watched it, you know what I'm talking about. I won't spoil it for them, but yes, this season definitely takes some turns. One thing, though, I want to point out, and this becomes a lot more prevalent in Season 2, more than in Season 1, but what happened to Goth Tiff? Tiffany used to be very gothic, and she's not like that anymore.
She's not in her body anymore. She's in Jennifer Tilly's body.
Well, it's the same thing though. The body looks exactly alike.
I mean, yeah. I'm just saying that's all I got. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't know. Tiffany just does not seem that bright. Not hating on Jennifer Tilly because I'm actually deeply in love with Jennifer Tilly. I just don't like what they did with her character. She started off so good, and they keep pulling her back to this whiny, naggy, prissy, girly girl who is so very different from the Tiffany we started out with, who made it seem like she was going to be just like Chucky, but a girl.
Well, I mean, she did see through Nika's deception. And,
yeah, but the thing with the packing, trying to stuff a full body into the little suitcase.
That packing was a bit ridiculous.
Going from, making out to, I'm hungry. I think some of the writing could have been a little bit better. And speaking of that, before we get into the next topic, I just want to finish this off. If you're done saying everything you need to say about the episodes.
Yeah, I think I said everything I wanted to say.
I just want to finish this off with something that was brought up prior to watching the episodes. And now that we have, I can actually talk a little bit more about why I said 20 episodes would have worked for season 1. We could have gotten more with Jake. We could have gotten more with Jake and his father just in the first episode. Chucky could have came in at the very end, and we would have gotten a lot more character development with Jake. Then moving into episode 2, we would have gotten a lot more with his family, with Lexi. We could have actually seen some of Lexi's home life right then and there, so people wouldn't have been so, killer. They might have actually sympathized a small bit with her, saying, she's this way because she has a bad home life too. Just kind of on the opposite end. We could have gotten more with Devin. We could have gotten more time with Devin and Jake, leading into their relationship. We could have gotten more with Andy, more with Tiffany and Chucky. Instead of trying to cram all this in and surprise the audience to keep them going, we could have had a lot more, and it could have been fleshed out a lot better. I just think that, yes, TV shows are getting lazier because they are making less episodes. per season, and they're trying to fit too much in this short amount of time. That's why Game of Thrones, the final season, failed, according to most viewers. I actually loved it. But I'm in a very tiny minority on that aspect. And for very different reasons than probably most people who love it. But no, I mean, the basic problem is there's all these storylines. Bree's sickness. There was no reason to keep us, the viewers, in the dark about her having cancer all this time.
Especially with the way they handled it. They handled it very poorly in the beginning. It made it sound like she was like doing something that she definitely wasn't supposed to be doing.
Having an affair, plotting a divorce, which would have been like, okay, yeah, she would deserve to die. And then you, like, get the switch thrown, like, oh, she's actually got cancer. First off, she didn't. I said this before in my final review of season 1, but she didn't even look like she was anywhere near having cancer. She looked as healthy as could be.
Well, I mean, I don't know how cancer people look at any stage in life while they're having cancer, but I mean,
there would be some sign of her being sick, though, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
Coughing, or, I don't know if it was lung. They didn't say what kind of cancer it was, but there should have been something.
I think they did say it was. I think they did mention what type of cancer it was, but I can't remember what it was.
But there should have been some sign, and there was nothing. She looked healthy as could be.
Yeah. That might have been the fault of the director, or...
Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I just feel like there would have been something. And she must handle the finances because those doctor bills would be quite expensive to get tests done and stuff, and the husband didn't know. She's going to therapy and for that, and the husband doesn't know.
She must have had some stuff with her side of the family where she could have enough money to pay for this stuff without arousing any unwanted attention.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So anyways, that's how I feel. I feel like, I'm not saying this show specifically had to have 20 episodes for season 1. I just feel like most shows could start stretching out their run times.
I think that shorter seasons get better quality per episode because it lets them put more money into each episode.
That's the problem, though. Then they're trying to rush the story. I don't want to watch Rings of Power because I've heard nothing but bad things. Only good things I hear is, it's beautiful. It's magnificent looking. Like Lord of the Rings was. Well, yeah, but if your story sucks, that beautiful scenery is only going to last for so long. This may look nice and be done really well, but there are some major issues with this story. Especially with going from season 1 to season 2, which we'll talk about then. But yeah, I just feel like if you rush the story, it's like a book. If I tried to tell any of my books, The Guardian of Light, and I tried to cram everything into 10 chapters, I couldn't do it. It'd be too hard. That goes for any writer. They can back me up. If you are trying to cram your book into 10 chapters per book, you're either going to have more books, or you're just going to have to cut to the nitty-gritty and leave a lot of things out. It's like, when we... Oh my God. I can't believe I have to say this. It's just like when we keep arguing about Star Wars.
Oh, God.
Rise of Skywalker was trying to fit way too much into a 2-hour time slot.
Oh, especially there was a lot of stuff in that movie. It was just it was a cluttered mess.
And the idea of Rise of Skywalker could have worked if they didn't try to rush it into a 2-hour time slot. If they said, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do like 3 more movies developing on this, that would have been fine.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a thing where they obviously did not sit down before the first movie of that trilogy. There was not a cohesive.
Well, I'm not talking about the trilogy. I'm just talking about that one movie.
Yeah, and that's where that one movie was probably at fault, victim of not things being set up properly from the previous 2 movies. You could have built up all that stuff, and it would have been fine. If you the whole thing with the Knights of Ren. That's one of my biggest problems with Rise of Skywalker, because they were mentioned once, I think, in Force Awakens, and they were completely ignored in Last Jedi, and they appear again.
Actually, I think you got them backwards. I think they were not even talked about in episode 7, and they're only briefly mentioned in Last Jedi. Then we finally see them in Rise of Skywalker, and they're just
whatever.
Because I think it's when he's talking with Snoke in person. He goes, the leader of the Knights of Ren. But anyways, no, like I was saying, the point I'm trying to make, kind of got me a little sidewalled there, is, no, with episode 9, basically, they tried to change things from episode 7 to try to appease the fans and to put their story back on the track that JJ wanted it to go, to make it be the story JJ wanted. See, this is why I've always argued that Palpatine was always meant to be a villain, because of the fact I believe that's what JJ wanted. He wanted episode 8 to bring in or start leading up to Palpatine. And Rian Johnson didn't do it. So he had to fast track that at the end. I think that was always the plan. But Rian Johnson screwed it up somehow. But anyways, so I'm glad you enjoyed these episodes. I do wish the season was longer. We could have gotten a little more development. But I think when you watch the next 2, things are really going to get rolling here towards the end. And maybe going into those 2 episodes with this conversation in mind, maybe you'll see that it could have used a few more episodes also.
Well, we'll see.
I really wish they would start doing that for a lot of TV shows, because sometimes it just doesn't feel good. You know, I try to enjoy the movie, and it's like there was a YouTuber I used to watch, and she would talk about how do you write horror. And she said, you don't put blood and guts on every page. If you're putting blood and guts on every page, the readers are going to get annoyed, and just it's not going to faze them anymore by the end of the story. Because you just had it through the entire story.
And some might even just get up and leave.
But, you know, if you put in some soft moments, time for things to settle down, time for characters to react, then when those moments spike back up again, you know, yes, we have some soft moments here in Chucky, but they're just too darn short.
Yeah, that's one thing when it comes to like just about anything, like anything I watch, like anime, and some other shows I watch. People always complain about the pacing, and they say they always want like action. I'm thinking, I would just like to see like going to like One Piece again. I would just like to see like the characters just chill for like a chapter or two on the ship and just do their own little shenanigans, and then move on with the journey.
Yeah,
and I could be going for like just about anything.
Anyways, so let's move on to our next subject. You wanted to talk about some One Piece cover photos?
Cover stories.
Cover stories? And what did you want to talk about with these exactly?
Well, I just want to talk about... They're not brought up in the anime enough. There's like only a couple that are animated, and there's actually one... I'm going to try to avoid spoilers as much as possible. I won't say anything specific, but the most recent cover story ties really well into current events in the main story. So the cover story and the main story really go hand in hand right now where I'm at. And I just want to mention there was one cover story that I feel might be important in the future that was never put in the anime at all. And that's when Eneru goes to the moon to his fairy birth. And that shows a lot of stuff that anime viewers are never going to see.
They might make a special episode about it after the fact or something.
The thing is that stuff was put into the manga like 14 years ago or so at this point. Maybe even longer. Yeah, maybe it's maybe closer to 16 years.
Yeah, but the thing is, though...
And it hasn't been in the anime. So I'm thinking it probably won't go in the anime at all.
Well, like I was going to say, the thing is, though... One Piece is going to end at some point.
Yes.
And they might make special edition episodes after the fact to tell that story and expand on that story. Not like it's officially part of the anime or it's going to go anywhere in the anime. Just like its own little mini-series.
Okay, like a TV special or a movie.
Exactly. So they might do that one day with it when they want, because they're gonna at some point want to keep the One Piece merchandise selling, to keep the One Piece anime selling.
Now the thing is, yeah, when after One Piece ends, now this is my biggest concern. Okay, first of all, just give a little context. I am a big Naruto fan. I followed Naruto from 2005, which is the year it started here in the U.S. for the English dub when it first started showing on Toonami. I didn't catch it right at the beginning. The first episode I saw was like episode 5, which is pretty early on, considering how long Naruto is. And I was thinking, well, this is actually a pretty good series. So I kept going on and on. And for the first 2 or 3 years that Naruto was on TV, it would always have marathons from the previous episodes. So it wasn't hard for me to see the episodes that I missed. So, but to get to the point though, when it got to the sequel series, Boruto, the main author Kishimoto, yes, Kishimoto is involved a little bit. He is basically telling them like the direction that they should go. But I feel like the people who are executing the story, who are actually doing the work, are not doing a very good enough job of bringing Kishimoto's story to the screen or to the page. Now, I just think, like, what's that stopping, like, if that were, like, to happen with One Piece? Like, Oda ends One Piece, and then, and people joke about the sequel series being called Two Piece, so I'm just going to go with that for now. So, like, let's say, like, Two Piece, becoming a disappointment just like Boruto.
Yeah.
And yes, I do mean that Two Piece is a pure joke. It's not a serious name.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because supposedly Ernest Cline is supposed to be working on a third and final book to his Ready Player One series, and the second book was called Ready Player 2. So I guess we can only assume that the next book in line is going to be Ready Player 3.
Maybe.
Which I kind of have ideas, but I don't get paid to tell other people's stories. Even though Don Mancini kind of is stolen my idea and didn't even bring me on board to help with the Chucky TV series. Because I've been saying for years. And it seems exactly to be going the way I almost said.
Huh.
And I don't want to say anything now because then it would be spoilers. I think I have said it in the past, though, on this channel. Before this season 1 came out.
Well, I guess I'll have to revisit that possibly after we're done with this season.
But I've been saying it long since before that. And I had different ideas in mind. It didn't involve bringing in all these kids and families. I had an idea for where the series could go after Cult of Chucky. And yeah, I'm not getting paid to tell other people how they should tell their stories, but people like taking my ideas. That's for sure. It was sort of a fanfic idea that I came up with.
Yeah. I actually had some fanfics for other things back in the past, but none of them came to light. Not that it matters because they're just fanfictions anyways.
So is there anything else you want to say about these cover stories or about the one you had me read?
Well, the one I had you look at, it was Enru's Great Space Adventure or something like that.
Yeah.
And it basically establishes that there are space pirates and there is a civilization on the moon
that looks like a cartoon Big Bad Wolf.
And so I'm just like thinking, okay, how much more is there? I mean, if there was that much on the moon, what's to say that there's even more? I mean, there are, I think some people are saying, like all of the races in One Piece came from the moon at some point in time in history.
Well, that wouldn't be feasible since there's no oceans on the moon. The moon's way smaller than Earth.
Well, there was more than one moon. Like there's like if you go to
whatever planet they're actually on, because they sure shit ain't on Earth.
Like if you go to like O'Hara, they have like a globe thing, and it has like a bunch of moons circling the globe that they had at Ohara. So I'm thinking there was at least at one point in time there was multiple moons for the One Piece world.
So they're in a galaxy far, far away. We don't know how long ago though.
Well, I mean, the series One Piece is actually written in a like from a point of view that someone's actually telling the story. Like there's there's a narrator that pops up sometimes that says, "Oh, this is like the battle that will never get told, except for only just a certain few would only know about." So I get the feeling, like maybe like we'll get to the end of One Piece. We'll get like a flash forward, like maybe a century into the future, after like Luffy and all of them are long gone, and someone's telling Luffy's story.
Yeah. Maybe Brook.
I doubt
Skeleton who never dies.
Well, I mean, Brook was granted a second life. He wasn't granted immortality. So he's about like halfway through his second life, pretty much.
Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go?
With the stuff with One Piece that's going on, I'll be talking about these. I got a video definitely coming up for the 3 chapters that I just read over the past month. And considering like how events are playing out, I think about making a special episode about the cover stories. See how well I can actually do that. That may or may not happen. And I had another one in mind. I guess it escapes me, but I did have like another thought in mind. I look forward to that. If you go to my channel at all,
Links will be in the description below.
Other than that, no. I just hope you guys appreciate my little detour. Hopefully it wasn't too random or strange.
Nope. And I guess we will see you next time for the final 2 episodes of Chucky Season 1. So yeah. I want to thank everybody so much for watching. With that said, I'll see y'all in the next episode. Bye.